And former gay service members have been in limbo since a California federal judge issued an injunction on the 17-year-old military ban on openly gay service members last week. District Judge Virginia Phillips said, "Don't ask, don't tell violates due process and freedom of speech." The Justice Department appealed the ruling to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and on Wednesday, the court froze the injunction. This issue is highly personal for many people, especially the more than 13,000 service members discharged under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Joining me to share his story is Joseph Rocha. He was honorably discharged from the U.S. Navy in 2007 after coming out as being openly gay. He's now a senior attending the University of San Diego. Thanks for being here, Joseph.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. Now, tell us, you were a witness in the federal court case. How did you feel when you heard that Judge Phillips issued the injunction against the military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell?
I mean, I think we were all incredibly overwhelmed when we heard about the injunction. We did have some idea that the Department of Justice would fight it. They had been fighting it for 6 years prior to even us getting a court date. But what was most exciting was the ruling. We now have a federal court judge who is known to be conservative, who is known to be a no-nonsense judge, come down and say that this is not only unconstitutional on the First Amendment, but also on the Fifth. And it's really that kind of language and that kind of foundation that was encouraging to move forward.
What do you think about the new policy that Secretary Robert Gates had issued about putting the decision of firing or letting go discharging military people in the hands of a panel of 5?
Sure. I mean, I'm glad that we're making it more complicated for them to kick people out of the military, but I think it's regardless to the fact that this is unconstitutional and that it's not right in any way, that we are even considering firing men and women who are willing to die in Iraq and Afghanistan or any war this country goes to, and who are just equally qualified and in no way affecting the mission or the unit.
What, Joseph, what led to your honorable discharge in 2007?
Sure. Prior to 2007, from 2004 through 2007, for a period of 28 months, while I served overseas and as a Navy explosive detection canine handler, I experienced a high degree of abuse and harassment that was condoned by my supervisors and that the Navy has acknowledged that did take place. It's all documented, and I subsequently was accepted to the United States Naval Academy Preparatory School, and it was there that I realized that I had done really nothing to provoke that abuse and that I really had no power to prevent that abuse. And it was very clear to me at the prep school that moving on, it was not a matter of when, but a matter of we will get caught and we will be discharged and we will be disgraced for no fair reason. And I just decided at the academy that that wasn't a good way to live. It wasn't a fair way to live. Okay.
And you were talking a little bit about your experience in the military. Did it start right away when you were on board? Did it just from the beginning? Or how did your experience pan out over time during your enlistment?
No, I mean, I did exceptionally well in boot camp. I did very well in police officer school. And I did well when I got to the large unit of hundreds of police officers when I got to the Middle East. It was just when I got into this small, isolated unit with little to no oversight, which already had its own history of corruption and of abuse, that I experienced this. And so it just highlights the policy that I had no problems getting along with anyone. I had no problems earning respect for my qualifications or for my service. It was only when I was put back into a corner, if you will, into these questions of, are you gay because of this? Are you gay because you won't do that? And the inability to say, yes, I am, leave me alone, or the integrity of deciding that I wouldn't say, no, I'm not, when I am. That's really what exasperated this curiosity and this obsession with whether or not I was gay. And then as that abuse escalated and focused more on my sexuality, I realized that as an 18-year-old who had just come out of boot camp, it would be a lot easier to discharge me allegedly for being gay than to take down an entire chain of command for corruption and harassment. And unfortunately, that's the situation that a lot of our service members find themselves in.
And now, this experience didn't stop you. You tried to re-enlist this week.
I did, yes.
What happened?
Well, based on the trauma that occurred in Bahrain, the VA put me on antidepressants, and so that was a bar, at least this time, when I went in to try to re-enlist. But I'm sure that we can clear that up, and unfortunately also the Department of Justice succeeded in getting a stay from the Ninth Circuit Court. So that process, I wouldn't even have made it through that that officer package process anyways. But I do plan on trying again as soon as I graduate this May, and I do expect that by then we will have repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
So you would like to re-enlist again, and why do you want to serve in the military?
I want to serve in the military for the same reason that I did prior to any of what happened overseas. I have an incredible desire to serve my country. I am very attracted to the core values of the military and to the culture and the honor and the respect of the military. And I always really wanted that family. I had a very tough upbringing, and so my feelings have not changed whatsoever towards the military. Whatever happened to me when I was overseas is an unfortunate case of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, allowing for this kind of abuse, and an expression of a few, but not the expression of the institution itself or of this country itself. And that's really why I've, tried to contribute in whatever way I can to repeal this policy, because it's the policy that's at odds with the country and with the military, and it's constantly at odds with what we believe in and with what it stands for.
I was going to say, if you could wrap that kind of in just a sentence, what do you think the impact that it has on this Don't Ask, Don't Tell has on our military, very briefly?
Yeah, I mean, we are the second to last country of the NATO allied forces who is still enforcing a policy like this. So it's definitely dating us. It's definitely not standing up to the image of the United States and what the United States stands for. So I will be very proud when the U.S. military can move forward from this.
Thank you very much, Joseph.
Thank you. My pleasure.